Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Welcome, everyone. This is Mary Scott. You are on the Personal Development Hub, our private Facebook group. If you are here live, a big welcome to you. This is about participation. And now I have it start on my other screen, which always throws me off. Please make comments. Our guest today will love some questions. So let me get straight into it. Our guest today is a woman I've actually known for a very long time. Not sure how long it is, but it's probably a long time. However, I haven't really known how talented she is. Her name is Kerry Castree. She is, oh my gosh, she is an amazing woman of different things. She's a wellness coach, and I like this one, oil educator, reiki practitioner, and all-round awesome chick. So welcome, Kerry. It's really lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Mary. I think I need to add the awesome chick to my profile. I like that one.
Yeah, well, you're making a difference. You're kicking some big goals.
Yes.
And I know you're extremely busy, so I'm glad that we squeezed some time out of your day to share your journey with personal development. So why don't we kick it off? When did you first know about personal development? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I'm going to say I started in my mid-20s. I don't think I was serious back then, but that's probably when I started. So that was interesting. I remember meeting you and the lovely Jean, and that really opened my eyes up to some amazing stuff there.
And how long ago was that? Do you remember? I was trying to think.
That was very live. Yeah, so that would have been
204, 205, somewhere there. I just suddenly had those dates. Yeah. And my goodness. Yeah. So do you remember what you thought personal development was in your 20s?
No, now I look at it and look back at 20s. Yeah, no, I had no idea what it was in my 20s. Like I was just going, now I look back, I can see what it was. But yeah, I was going out. I started with some cards. I went into a little op shop in Fremantle and bought, I've still got it. And bought a packet of tarot cards and a book. I thought, great, let's play with these. So as you do.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And that started just everything. I had no idea what I was doing, but I didn't need to have the idea. So, yeah.
Isn't it funny how at the end of the day, even though we're not conscious this is personal development and I'm learning, we learn anyway. And what a cool thing, a book and the tarot. It's a beautiful mix, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. I did have a bad experience with them, so I did put them away for quite a while. So
the cards, you mean?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, so, we won't go there. Let's not do that.
Yeah, it was an eye-opener. It was just like, it was an interesting experience in one of my girlfriends, because you know how you get girls together and let's do some cards. And she started asking these questions and I could see the answers, and it was like, whether she'd have another child, and it was and
ooh, wow.
And then she asked whether she'd move to Queensland, and and then it was like, well, will I play out on my husband? I'm like,
oh, stop there, stop.
I don't want people to ask me those questions, and it did all come true. And the husband nearly, it got very serious with the children, and her ended up in court. So it's like,
wow,
I saw all that. I don't want, let's not play with that now. So yes.
Wow, how interesting.
Yes.
And I suppose it's like anything that we enter into, you can use it for good or you can use it for, I don't want to say bad or evil, but let's just say the other side.
Yeah.
And there is two sides to every coin.
Yes.
And you're a woman of great integrity, so I can imagine that that would have horrified you. I can see your eyes. Yes,
I know,
exactly.
Oh, I need to put you away. I don't want people asking me those questions. Like,
So let me ask you this as well. Has there been a point over the years that there was kind of a defining moment where you thought, oh, wow, that's a really strong lesson or a strong message? Anything that you could say about that? Do you remember anything?
yeah, I do. I still remember it now. I was 20 when my mother died, and I had an interesting childhood. She was an alcoholic. So I was always before my time. Looking back, I can see that now, always before my time. The night that she died, my husband at the time was a policeman, and we had no children or anything. But the night she died, there was a light shining up my hallway, and it was like her, and it was someone like one of the children's, which we didn't have any, knocking at the end of the bed. Like, and the bed was shaking, and I woke up and I could see this light, and it was like her coming to say goodbye. And I thought, I can't tell, because he was very black and white being a policeman. I thought he's going to lock me up and think I'm having a mental breakdown. So yeah, so the story never came out, but I still remember it to this day. Yes.
Wow. So how has that impacted your life since then?
Then I just wanted to learn. When, I come and I met you, and when we met, that really started to open up personal development, like what it was, and looking at beliefs, and when you said before, there's a coin, there's light and there's dark, and your beliefs are light and dark, there's shadow and light, and but when you get to work with them and see them, yeah, it just opens so many doors for you.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I guess it's like anything, you need contrast, hence the black and the white, the two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And contrast certainly has helped me to make some wise decisions. And some of that contrast can be seen as adversity or opportunity. What's your experience with that? Are you a contrast person?
I've always gone, like I said, I've always been ahead of the time. Even when I was younger, I always looked at every situation as something to learn from. And I still believe you never stop learning. Like, I learn something every day. I go and spend a night with my grandchildren each week, which I'm going after this. And I just love that. It's just a great reset for me to get back into my, gets back into my heart space. And I can create so much more because it's just pure love. Children are just pure love. And I watch them create, and it's just beautiful. Now I've forgotten your questions. You've got me onto my grandkids. So sorry.
How old are they, Kerry? How old are you? What's the range of ages? I know you've got
I've got it. The oldest is 18, and the youngest has just turned 1 last week.
Wow. So do you 11. Have activities planned, or you hang out together? How does it work?
There's 3 boys I go up to each week, and we take food from the garden up to them, so they eat all healthy and love it. But the oldest one up where I'm going is 6, and he's been grateful from the day he was born. Like, he can remember the first pair of socks I gave him, and he'll still say, thank you so much for the socks. Like, he just has that, he can manifest anything, this kid. And he's only 6, like, he's incredible. And as he plans, they plan, I'm theirs. Like, when I walk into the door, I don't need to plan anything, because we could be playing football, we could be playing basketball, we could be doing a board game, a puzzle. Yeah, when I go through their door, it's their time. So yeah,
that's fantastic. So this 6-year-old,
yes.
Where did he learn all this, or is this kind of an innate thing that he has?
it's interesting because I look at his father can manifest as well, but his father likes to call me, he'll say, get your witchy stuff out and fix it. Because I used to, like I said, because before their time, I did Reiki like over 30 years ago, which, you know, it was around then, but not many people knew about it. My poor kids, I used to put crystals in their pockets to go to school. They, I used to diffuse study oils to make them do their study. So I used all my tools to do it. And it's funny because my son, he's a school teacher now, and he hated the study blend, as I call it. When he's got to do reports, he goes, Mum, can you bring up that stuff and put in my diffuser for me? So, and all the 3 boys up there have had essential oils from the day they were born. So, yeah. And they want to get scanned and their oils for them. And, yeah. So they're all open. They're all open. The 18-year-old, he still has got a crystal collection. So, and he can tell me what crystals he's got and everything. He remembers from when we used to spend time when he was 2 and 3 to do it. So, you know, it has been impactful on their life, and they still use the tools. So that's pretty cool.
How wonderful to be able to influence to that degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think when you took the job on, you knew the power of influence, and now you've got an 18-year-old that's testament to what you were doing with him when he was little, and you've got a 6-year-old? I mean, that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, even, yeah, and when you walk in, even the baby at 1, you know, he crawls up to the front door to come and meet you, and, you know, they're just, yeah, their energy is so good. It's great being a grandparent. You can hand them back, and
Yes.
love that. Yeah, it's so much easier being a grandparent, I think, than a parent.
So do you think that they might look back, if I was interviewing them, and I won't be because I'll probably be well gone, but and if I asked them, when did you first learn about personal development, what do you think they'd say to me?
Yeah, I'd say 2 or 3, because, like, you know, I'm very mindful words I use around them, probably more so than what I did with my children. You know, we you know, I don't use good or bad around them. And yeah, but it's interesting also watching them, and the parents don't put any of it on either, but it's watching them form their own beliefs. Like, I can see the 6-year-old forming the belief of, I need to be perfect, and no one's putting that on him at all, only himself. Yeah, so it's incredible to watch it. So
yes, that's those formative years, you know. I think that I probably underestimate, like, I've been studying for years. I didn't stay at school long, but I've been studying for years. But I remember when I first heard that, and I was like, But of course, later in life, observing children, it's so true, isn't it? Look how powerful it is for you, like, in reality.
yeah. It's interesting because, you know, I'm more aware of all the beliefs there now, like, and so you don't want to put any beliefs on but I can see him forming them himself. It's very, and I'm thinking, wow, I've done that as a child as well.
Yes.
You know, and over the years, those beliefs used to hold me back. You know, and now it's like, well, okay, I know what belief. I know you're sitting there, belief. Okay, you just sit in the corner, and you play over there. Let me play here, and I'll come back and play. I'll have a cup of tea with you later. So.
That's awesome, isn't it? So he's erring on the side of perfectionist, and it's coming about in spite of himself, is I think what you're saying, isn't it? Isn't that fantastic? And you've got the privilege of watching it. It's very interesting. How powerful. And I guess the other part of that is that, and I'm sure you've thought about this, the power of influence from you. And you know, have your children would they say they're into personal development? Have they taken on the next generation role, or has it gone straight to the grandkids?
When I look over, because I've got my son, and then obviously Craig, who you know as well. I was stepmom to his two daughters, but they lived with us, so I brought them up. So it's easier with the girls to go to the grandkids. Like I can it's easier to go that way. But now it's coming back to the girls. With my son, he does do his own, and his wife, they do their own personal development as well, which is really good because you see it on their kids. And like you go up to this house, and it's going to sound weird, but there's no news for 24 hours. They don't have any news on in the house. I love it. There's no iPads up there. There's no, we've got to go out. Well, we don't have to go outside, but the boys just want to go outside and play football or basketball, or can we go to the park? And I it sort of brings me back to my childhood, because that's what we used to do. We used to go outside when it was light and be home by 6 before it got dark.
Yes, we did too. That is so wonderful, isn't it? And yeah. I love the generational change, if you like, about giving the kids an opportunity to learn, and like that little one being grateful, and like, I don't know, it's potent, isn't it? It's just beautiful, because I don't know about you, but it took me a while to really learn about gratitude. And grateful seemed to me when I was growing up like as a weakness rather than a strength, and now I look at it more of a strength. And how wonderful, like, for him just to be expressing this about his socks.
Yes, he remembers everything, and he just, and it's amazing watching him teach his parents. Like, we follow Carlton. Don't hold that against us. And now the grandkids are coming with Nan to the football as well, and Dad. And it's a family time at the football. But he's got his normal Carlton jumper, and then he wanted the Indigenous one, which was beautiful. And then now he's following the AFLW ones, which Dad probably wasn't as much into it, but he says I have to go because I need to support him to go. So they all went to the AFL, the girls, the other day, and watched them. I thought, oh, how cool is that? These little ones are dragging the parents along whether they want to go or not. Like,
and for those of you who do not live in Australia, we're talking about Australia. No, it's fine. Australian rules football, and if you live in Victoria where Kerry lives, it's a religion for some. So on that note, this is Mary Scott. We are on the Personal Development Hub with Kerry Castree. If you are live, please put some comments in. Do you think you're impacting your grandchildren, your children? Is the generation of personal development wonderment alive in your family? Put some comments so that when Kerry and I are finished here, we can go back in and see how much that you are gaining from this very fruitful conversation. And thanks for watching and being live. We really appreciate it. Kerry, go back to this. I think it's fantastic what you're saying, because for a long time there was a belief that parents should teach children. And certainly when I was born, what is it? Children should be seen and not heard. And how lovely you're talking about these little ones teaching their parents. And I know I've got a friend's son, and I've been in his life since he's 2, and he has taught me about courage. What do you think?
They teach us so much. Like I said, they teach you pure love. And if you want to create something, you've got to. If you're in that space, you can create anything. And yes, courage and gratitude. And they don't see that. They see the world just as love. It's really, if we all saw it like that, and maybe a different world, but they just don't get involved in. They only worry about what they need to worry about, and that's it. Yeah.
Very much in the here and now, isn't it? That's what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Which I know I teach this a lot. Just see if you can stay in the now, which the whole thing about awareness, and I'm sure that we're definitely on the same page with that. But so much to be learned from the younger generation, and that crossover is so important. How do you think you're able to have this? Because it sounds like, I was going to say privilege, but I think it's joyful. It's here and the now. How did this start, or is it something that just happened because you're who you are and you've been open to it?
Always been open to it. Like you said before, if something didn't go my way, or I'm not gonna say it was a bad experience, but it was a challenge. I always used to think, okay, well, there's a challenge there, but let's look at the other side. Like you said, there's always two sides of the coin. What have I learned out of it? What's a good side of it? But with the children, like I love little kids. Teenagers are a bit more of a challenge, but
They are indeed.
and then they get over that, and then they come back into a good one. But the little ones, I've always done cooking with them. We've done cooking, like the 18-year-old. I used to do cooking in the library. I've done the same with, and it's the same as the younger boys now. But with the cooking, I think Jess once ran and said, when you cook, what disco do you have? I go, well, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, I wanted to cook with Jack. And he goes, no, Nan puts a disco on. You've got to have a disco. Because I always have my music playing, and we used to dance and cook at the same time. And she goes, I have no idea what he's talking about. Oh, put your music on and dance. Oh, she says.
Isn't that beautiful? So cooking's great, isn't it? Because it's you create something and then you share it. I presume after that you eat it and go, yum, and look what you've done and all that. But the disco, I was thinking disco. I thought dancing, and I thought about dancing before music, which is interesting. So you cook, you have music, you dance.
Yeah.
Have you burnt anything because you're busy dancing?
No, we put the timer on for Nan. and because I work with autistic boys as well, and I've been with them for 4 years, so we do the same thing. They love cooking as well, just not as patient, so we've got to cook quicker with them. But and I have some, again, they bring me back to just, can we go to the park? Can we go have a picnic? Can we go to the beach? It's just things that we don't do in everyday life. Like, people get very busy. But when you look at those things, it just brings in self-care for yourself. And, just mindful, it helps so much.
Isn't it funny? Busy being busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And these guys are just worried about now. So
yes. Yeah, that's cool. And so what's delicious about the park for them?
The park, I always think fresh air. I've got one of my boys I work with, he loves the park. He likes to people watch. So we like the park, and plus he takes a picnic, so he gets to eat. That's his favorite hobby. So we eat, watch park, and we're in fresh air. So
yeah, lovely. That's just beautiful. So here you are, you're influencing again your clients and who you work with. You're just really doing the same, aren't you, that you're doing for your family? You're just expanding it out a bit.
Yeah.
Wow. And what brought you to working with autistic boys? Is there young women as well, or just boys?
Just the boys. I've been with them for 4 years, so I normally do morning shift where we get up. I start at 6:30, and we get ready for school bus and get him to the school bus for special school. But just their conversations, like the oldest one, when I started working, he was nonverbal. And now, like, he'll ask you questions, and I just get blown away. When you walk in the morning, he wants to tell me something that happened 2 years ago. and it's very constant. So I just say good morning. Like good morning, Nick. Good morning. Anyway, this morning he went to tell me it, and before he finished it, he goes, good morning. Okay, good morning. But you're coming around to my way of thinking now, mate.
So what's their impression? Your boy this morning. What would their impression be of personal development?
They probably don't have one, but I've found that especially to help with language, it was reading and music. Music's the go-to. Like we listen to music non-stop. My Spotify playlist at the end of the year, it tells me my top 100. I don't think there's Hey Jude's number one, because that's got a beat that calms them down. So any Beatles music, which I'm not a Beatles fan, I know people say, oh my God, how can she not be? But the beat to their music actually calms them down. So the Hey Jude, Let It Be, all those, yeah. So I use a lot of tools to get calm without having to do too much. I'm a very lazy person some days. So
I think they're fortunate to have you, because they're going to be learning so many things about language, about caring. You know, I think it's just beautiful.
We make everything fun, because, like, you know, life's a challenge, but we make it fun. I had to laugh the other day. We had to go to the hospital, and I can get in and out pretty quick because we do it well. And I had to go to the new school, and I said to Nick, I'm not sure if I know where I'm going. He goes, Kerry always gets lost. I go, yeah. I'm a bit confused. And he comes out with, it doesn't take much. Because you're not allowed to laugh, because they're very, very sharp. And if they see they've got you, you'll cop it, sort of thing. And so it's like, okay, thanks, mate.
Isn't that fantastic? I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about, how much, and I know Craig, he's an extraordinary man and an extraordinary, I don't know whether to call him a chef, a connoisseur. Have you got a word that would sum him up, your husband?
Talker.
Creator.
He is a creator. He is a chef. Well, he's a horticulturalist by trade. That's his official title. He's out actually, but he's an educator. He teaches people, how to grow their own food.
Make cheese. He makes Christmas cake. He makes
salami,
bread, salamis. Yes, a whole range of things. So I just wanted to give the audience a little précis version. That doesn't tell you everything about Craig, but how has personal development helped you and Craig? Because you're pretty. I haven't hung out with you for years because we don't live anywhere near each other, but I think that you got a pretty good thing going on. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I know you're biased, but it's fair.
No, we do. We both have our own separate businesses, but then we both come together. So it's interesting because we're both supportive of each other. We are planning to do something joint together, which we're just starting on. But and we're both very supportive. But one thing that because I was probably further down the personal development track than he was when we first met. And then when he learned a lot from the days that we met you, and we did those little workshops and things like that, which were amazing. And I can tell you though, at one of those workshops, there was one that the vision board, and I'm sure people you've talked about them before. He drew a house, and at the time we were renting, and there was no chance we could afford a house. We were very much in debt at the time. And 5 years later, we actually built our own house. And when we moved in, we're unpacking boxes, and there was his vision board, and it was exactly the same layout of the house.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. My God.
And I got chills now on that one. But yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, I've got a bit of goosebumps going on.
Yeah. And that was something that we did with you guys. And yeah, as we unpacked it, there was exactly the same layout of the house.
Oh, that's kind of a bit what happened in The Secret, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Oh, wow. So what do you think, let's not use the secret word again. What do you think the magic ingredients is for your relationship to be flourishing like it is?
Communication. Communication is good. Focus, because we can bounce. I love how we can bounce ideas off. So I'll suggest something and he'll like to disagree with me for a bit. I'll go, okay, that's okay. And then I'll get him to come around to my way of thinking. So, and not by
manipulation or anything.
No. I said to him yesterday, we need to do a video on broad beans because people don't know how to do it. He goes, oh no, I go, look, I've got it all set up, just film me. He goes, okay, I'm not doing it. I go, okay. So once I start, of course he has to talk because he can't help himself. And and then he come back later on and he said, we should do more of that. It's not saying, like, it's not having a disagreement about saying we need to do it. It's just putting it out there and letting it unfold by itself.
That's lovely. I love broad beans.
Yes.
That's and this is Mary Scott. We are on the Personal Development Hub, our private Facebook group, and we're rocking it today. We're talking about all sorts of things with Kerry Castree, who's divine. And if you have any questions, please pop them. And also, if you're live, thank you so much for joining us. Back to Kerry, broad beans. You know, it's funny about broad beans association. As soon as you said broad beans, I thought of my father because he used to grow broad beans. And then we seemed to have broad beans for years. And I didn't much like the string beans, but I've always loved broad beans. But the thing that strikes me about that is that was a quality of my father that was a good thing that I was part of, his ability to grow cabbages, broad beans. You know, I wouldn't say he's on Craig's level, but it's something about food is a way to communicate and bring love. Tell me what your experience might be about that.
Well, yes, it's true because like not last weekend, the weekend before, we did an open garden for our council and we had 150 people come through our garden.
Is that in at your own house?
Yep.
Wow.
150 people come through. Ours was sold out, like they had to book a ticket because of regulations and stuff. Or the council organises it, and there was 150 people that come through that wanted to learn and ask. And
now, what time period, Kerry? It's a lot of people to have
we
in your
started
backyard.
at 9 till 12.
Wow, 3 hours and 150 people. They would have been doing this.
No, it seemed to flow really well. Actually did flow really, really well. There wasn't. We did it a year before, and there was like that. But we learned a few things and we changed a couple of things, and it flew because we've got chickens and different things for kids to open up and look at and things like that. So, yeah.
So here we go. You're influencing another group of people. Are they necessarily neighbours or do they come from all around?
Oh, no, they came like from Berwick to Werribee. And
how far is that? So people know?
It's about probably an hour and a half away.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Bendigo is like 2 hours they came just to have a look at the garden.
But that's more than that, isn't it? Tell me what do you think? Yes, you're showing them the garden, and I know it's Craig's business, but you're in there. What do you think they get when they come to you?
Well, they don't get it. They wanted ideas on what they could do with their own stuff. But both Craig and I spoke about, you know, the fruits and the benefits. But I also, because I'm known in Craig's business as the apprentice, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I just plant. Craig goes out and I plant something. And then he goes, I can't remember putting corn there. I go, I don't know. I don't. So I do have my little section, and then I sort of vary off. Oh, there's a weed. I'll pull a weed out of his section because he gets into your head, as you may know. And it's like, if you pull a weed out, you've got to plant something. So I do. So it's about educating. We had a different fruit that people don't normally see. So I cut it up to show people, gave them a taste of it. I love collecting seeds. Craig doesn't, and then starting them up again. And I had this beautiful sunflower, a big teddy bear one. I'd grown from seeds. So I gave some people some seeds to take home to grow their own. And so it's just about sharing and educating. And but also too, when you're out in the garden and in dirt, you know, mental health, it's so good for people. Like, and so calming and relaxing, grounding. So
All those metaphors come to mind, you know.
yeah,
Planting seeds, pulling the weeds out. When you pull a weed out, plant something. You could absolutely run that parallel with your life and your personal development. And the other thing that strikes me about it is that they're getting lots of care from you both. I would think there's a bit of magnetism there. And then there's that other thing called community that you must be creating massively.
Yeah.
If not just where you live, but further than that. Can you say some things about that?
Well, we just spent the weekend down at Phillip Island. Craig had to speak there Saturday at one place and another place on Sunday. And George, the dog, and I and my dad, we just went down for the free ride and got to have a bit of a break down there. So that was really good. He's up at, like, he just travels all over to talk to different, it's not to talk, it's more about educating, but sharing his knowledge. He keeps it very simple for people. So, you know, this is what he's doing. He's not saying you do it, but, you know, this is how it's working. You know, why not try it?
Yeah.
So,
what does George think about it all? Has he got an opinion?
Yeah, George, he's not allowed to dig in the garden. Craig and George sort of have this love-hate relationship. But I've just got Craig over the line for another puppy. So
oh no.
So if I'm not around next year, you'll know why. You know, that great relationship we had, it could be coming to an end with the new puppy.
Yeah, but you know, the thing that strikes me, you've just got a plethora of opportunity for people to learn about sharing, caring. And like I say, all of this is personal development. That's why I wanted to keep talking about it, because the mere fact that you and Craig are so open and willing to engage with people at this level is just a beautiful thing. Do you think you really get what a difference the two of you make?
I didn't for a while, but now I see, you know, when I do workshops and things, you know, in my own right, you know, and sometimes I just go as Kerry Castree. And then someone say, you know, every now and then someone say, oh, are you related to Kerry Castree? I go, yeah, I'm the quieter one. And but sometimes I will go out on my own. But yeah, and I look at Craig and like I look at his following, and you know, he'll answer any question. Like he's always answering questions, and he never minds. Like he just.
But hang on, hang on a minute. Isn't this you as well?
It's me too. Well, yes, we both do it. We both answer in our own businesses. We both answer questions anytime. Like
Absolutely.
To be supportive, both of us really do. And I can speak for him too. We love it when we see people thrive. And like you said before, it is like personal, you know, you generate, which is you're planting your seed, right? And then, you know, you've got to pull out your weeds and make sure everything's all focused and nice and things like that. And then you get to harvest. You know, and I've learned, I used to be a course junkie. Okay, you know, I need to learn more back in the days. I've stopped it now, but I still don't believe you never stop learning. I agree with that. I don't need to do every single course these days. Like,
and you're a bit of a guru when it comes to oil. How do you mix that with your personal development? You've been doing essential oils for how long?
32 years. I started when Bram
Wow.
was 3 years old.
So how much impact is that on people's lives and their personal growth, their personal development?
Massive. It's going to be the answer, because I look at the essential oils in an emotional way. Every oil has an emotional to it, in what it can help with and or assist with. Gotta be careful. I have a machine that people put their hands on, and it tells me, their body tells me what oil they need for them, what services I do that will help them. And like I said before, I am very lazy. So if I can cut out half my work, I'm all for this. Like, and but I do it also because I know that the people are getting what they need. It's not what I think they need. It's what their body's asking for. So, and then they start to feel better, so quickly, because that's what they needed.
Isn't that wonderful? And
Yeah.
what's your favorite oil, Kerry?
Oh, it's like saying choose your favorite child. Yeah, I've got, like, if you saw my oil box, I've got hundreds of them, like, in the sense, and then they bring out a new one. At the moment, there's one, a Japanese one that's called, it's like forest bathing. So, which is really good, I suppose, for my mindfulness and that, where it's very calming, relaxing, and very grounding. So,
And what's it
yeah.
called?
It's oh, you're gonna ask me that. I'm gonna call it forest bathing, but that's really not what it is
I
actually.
thought that's what you said, and I was trying to figure out what on earth does she
Yeah.
mean? You talk about mindfulness. How important is that in your life?
Massive, because it keeps me to focus. And like I said, now, if you could, and I know you could teach, but if you could teach anyone to do something, it's like, even when you do your courses, Mary, they're wonderful and we learn so much, but it's about applying. Like,
Absolutely.
so, because if you can learn, I can learn every single course, but if I don't apply, it's not worth it. So, when you teach something, and I love your course, when you teach something and you put it into action, you're telling the universe you're serious. Let's do something.
Yes, that's very true. But you're a big action taker, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, because I sort of think, oh, if I've learned it, I've got to use it. Otherwise, I've wasted my time. So, but I'll never tell any of my clients to do something if I'm not prepared to do. So, we finished today. Every season I do 30 days of wellness for free, and they get a mindfulness. They might have to go collect a feather or dance like no one's watching, or just they have a little bit of fun, to use an oil, or it's just bringing that mindfulness in for 5 minutes a day. Yeah,
that's fantastic, isn't
we've
it?
just finished it today.
And the other thing that strikes me about mindfulness is that, and I'm always on about this, is it's an opportunity to deepen your awareness.
Oh yeah. Awareness is such a big word. Once you become aware of things, things don't seem so bad. Like when you put your head in the sand, the problem gets bigger. But when you become aware of it, it's like, okay, like I said, I know you're there. Just sit there for 5 minutes. I'll be back to you. I need to go do something, and then we'll come back and chat, sort of thing. But
that's actually a good tip. Can you say more about that? Oh my gosh, we have to finish. But I think that's a lovely tip. Is that something you'd like to just talk about as we finish, or have you got something else that's burning in your mind?
No, there's something else burning in my mind. If I could give one tip, can I give two?
Yes, you can give two
time.
because it's you. No,
Okay.
it's all right. It's all right.
One thing I love telling people, stay in your lane. Like, stop worrying about what's going on in the other lanes on the freeway and what other people are doing. Just stay in your lane. You can just stay in your lane and not get sucked into the other lanes. You'll do so much better. Okay, so it's about focusing on what's going on just with you, and not worrying about others.
Absolutely. Well, you start doing this and you get distracted, and then you get into greater than, less than. They're doing more than me. They're better than me. But oh my goodness, that's a minefield, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I like that. Stay in your lane. Just keep going where you're going. That's a great tip. And what's your second one?
And the second one is a man once told me everyone needs a coach. And I have two, and people say, oh, why you got two? But they do completely different things for me. You know, just to be someone to be accountable to keep when you get off and lose, when you're going like this and they say, oh, get back in your lane sort of thing. You know, and yeah, you know, because I used to say, oh, I don't think you need a coach. You know, I can do it myself. But when you've got a coach, you've got a friend. You really have. So if anyone's thinking about, you know, they've been umming and ahhing about it or doing one of Mary's courses or anything like that, seriously do it. You know, you've got so many doors will open for you. So,
yeah, that's lovely. Two good, solid tips, not to mention all that. Oh my gosh, we've touched a lot of bases, and thank you so much. And thank Craig, because he didn't know he's going to be talked about, but we've pulled him into the
he's not
arena.
He won't know anything, don't worry.
No, I think it's fantastic. I love what you're doing, Kerry. You're really making a difference, and I know from time to time our paths cross in different ways, and I'll thank you for being in my life, and I thank you so much for being here today. And
thank you for having
so
me.
much. You
it's been
are
a
very
pleasure.
welcome.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
That's lovely. So, Mary Scott, we are going to end here. We are in the Personal Development Hub. Do put some questions or give some accolades for Kerry, who's brought so much to the table today. I didn't mean that was a bit of a pun, the table and the food. And have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll be speaking to you again, Kerry. Bye for now.
This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.